Okay, my name is Brooklyn. Nice to meet you. And your name is?
My name's Morty
What's your last name?
Smith.
And how old are you, Morty?
I'm 14 years old.
When were you born? Do you know?
Yes, May 15th of 2005.
And you are, what's your gender? Your preferred gender?
Male.
And your race?
I identify as Caucasian.
Marital status?
Single, obviously.
And living situation? Do you live at your parents' house, with your grandparents?
I live with my parents, my crazy grandpa, and my sister.
Okay. Are your parents still together?
Kind of. They, a lot of time fight, and they consider getting a divorce. And then, so they've been talking about getting a divorce, so their status is a little confusing as of right now.
Okay. Okay, Morty, and where were you born?
I was born in Rockville, Maryland.
And where did you grow up?
Also Rockville, Maryland.
That's Rockville?
Yes.
Okay, who raised you?
My parents, Beth and Jerry Smith, they're my biological parents, and they fight a lot.
Okay. We will talk more about them later, okay? How many brothers and or sisters do you have?
I only have one sister. Her name's Summer.
Do you have any step-siblings?
No, ma'am.
So what's your relationship like with your sister, Summer, would you say?
It's a little tough because she's often hard on me for being the younger brother and making some questionable decisions. But I feel like she does love me in the end.
Okay, so you feel like you have a pretty good relationship, she's just tough on you.
Yes.
And how would you compare yourself with your sister?
I wouldn't say I'm as smart or popular as her, because in school she isn't the most popular person, but she definitely has a little leg up over me because I'm pretty nerdy, and I'm definitely not as smart as her because I feel like I learn slower and I process things slower than she does.
Okay. So, you've never been married, correct?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. Do you have any children?
Nope.
Okay, Morty, so you're currently still in high school, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what year are you?
I'm in 8th grade.
Okay, and do you like school?
Not always. I miss it a lot because of my grandpa's adventures. Plus I'm not that smart compared to others in my grade.
And what are your grades like, would you say?
They're mostly C's just because I miss them a lot because my grandpa pulls me out of school to follow him on often rash and stupid things.
So you miss a lot of school due to your grandpa, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that seems to be having a negative effect on your grades overall.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever failed a grade?
No, but I've been in danger of failing 8th grade from missing too much school.
Have you ever gotten special education?
No, but my mom seems to think I need it.
Okay. Do you ever get in trouble for your behavior at school? Besides missing your classes?
Not really. I pretty much tend to act in line. But missing classes does often have a bad influence on my grades and what my teachers think of me.
Okay, and were you ever suspended for anything or expelled?
Yes, only once, but it was a mistake.
Okay, and what was that reason?
Well, it's kind of stupid. They suspended me for missing too much class, so in turn I missed more class.
Okay. So let's move on. Have you ever had a job? I know you say you're only 14, but...
Nope, I haven't had a job yet, which means that I haven't had anything to really take care of or earn money from.
Okay. You haven't ever been in the military. You're only 14.
Mm-hmm.
So your medical history. Do you know if there were any complications during your birth? Has your mom told you anything like that?
She has not said anything to me.
Okay. Do you know if you crawled, walked, and talked when you were supposed to?
I think I did, but only with a slight delay. So not often, not too late enough that they considered researching more into me and why I was a little bit delayed.
Okay. Have you ever suffered from a head injury or loss of consciousness?
Yes, but it was due to my grandpa doing something dumb during an experiment.
So your grandpa led to an injury with you?
Yes.
Okay. Are you currently being treated for anything?
No.
Okay. So you have no physical illness or injuries right now?
No.
Okay. You're not taking any medications currently?
No.
Have you ever suffered from seizures?
No.
Okay, what about blackouts?
Only from suspected anxiety. I think it was because of me overreacting and getting very anxious about something that obviously led to me completely missing what happened.
Okay. So, okay, Morty, so would you say you've ever been physically abused?
I wouldn't say physically abused.
Okay, what about sexually abused?
Well, there was this one time. It was on one of my grandpa's adventures, obviously, and we were in this really weird land, and some strange man tried to come on to me.
Okay, so a strange man tried to sexually abuse you, but nothing actually happened, correct?
No, nothing actually happened. I fought him off before he could do anything.
So your grandpa's adventures seem like they can be very troublesome for you and dangerous.
Yeah, I would say that.
So stuff like this happens quite often in your life on your grandpa's adventures.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, have you ever been emotionally abused?
No, not really.
Okay, so let's go through your substance use history if you have any. Have you ever used alcohol?
No.
Okay, what about cigarettes?
No.
Marijuana?
No.
Cocaine?
No.
Opiates?
No.
Hallucinogens? Sorry.
I don't know if you'd qualify this, but it was something on my grandpa's adventures as well. That he'd make me take a couple of serums and like I'd either knock out or like I'd have these really vivid things happen to me. But it wasn't necessarily under my will to take them. My grandpa just kind of said, "Oh, they're fine for you, Morty. You'll be fine."
So your grandpa forced you to take something? Would you say it was forced, or would you just say it was
coerced? More than forced.
Okay, and did these hallucinogens ever have any negative effects on you other than just seeing things that weren't there?
No, I don't think so.
Did they ever get you into any trouble?
I don't think so.
Okay, were you always in a safe space when you took them?
No.
Okay. And do you take those frequently?
Not too often. I wouldn't say it's an everyday or bi-weekly thing. It's maybe once every couple of months when our adventure turns wrong.
So what about any amphetamines?
No.
Sedatives or hypnotics?
Yeah, I feel like he's done that to me. Well, not done that to me. That's kind of a bad way to say it. But he has suggested I take something in order to calm myself, or like whenever he just got too annoyed with me. I remember there was this one time he got really annoyed with me and just like sedated me.
So, in these spells where he sedates you, were you being overwhelmed with any anxiety, or were you bothering him in any way? What were his reasons for doing this to you?
I feel like it's because I was annoying him too much with all my anxious thoughts, because once I start talking, I kind of just ramble and I think of every worst possible situation that could happen, and then it just builds more and more, and then he just gets frustrated because he obviously is a genius and he knows what is going on, and he doesn't need me to worry about all the potential dangers because that's kind of his job.
So if it's his if he needs to worry about these dangers, why do you go with him if it's so dangerous? Why does he need you with him?
Well, a lot of times he says my stupidness cancels out his genius so that a lot of people can't find him in the universe and get him in trouble.
So you travel all over the universe with your grandpa?
Yes.
Okay, and you do dangerous things all over the universe with your grandpa?
Yes.
And your grandpa is a genius?
Yes. He likes to think so.
Would you consider him a genius?
Book smart? No. Science smart and willing to do anything that he puts his mind to? Yes.
Okay. So let's go through your, if you have any substance-related problems. Have you ever gotten a DUI?
No.
Have you ever gotten concerns from your family or friends?
Only when they saw how much school I missed.
Okay. Have you ever gotten in trouble for acting out because you've been using substances?
Nothing more than an anxiety bout of yelling.
Okay. Ever been belligerent?
No.
Have you had financial, work, or health problems?
No.
Have you ever blacked out due to any substance use?
No.
How would you say your tolerance with substance use is?
It's relatively low, I'd say.
Have you ever experienced withdrawal?
No.
Okay. So let's go through your legal history real quick too. Do you have any current charges against you?
I don't think so. There may be intergalactic charges against my grandpa and probably his stupid sidekick, as I would be labeled by Universal people, but I don't think I have anything out for me currently.
And what about your past criminal record? Have you ever gotten in trouble for anything else in the past?
Only for Universal stuff. Nothing within our perspective world. I would call it kind of like when we go through and we're trying to, when my grandpa messes up on something and we have to escape it really fast and it ends up either killing some like giant war criminal or kind of a leader of a nation of a far, far distant like place. So those places may have it out for us, but nothing in the U.S. nation as of right now.
Okay, so places within the universe that aren't on Earth.
Yes. You
have a criminal record there. Okay. Okay. So let's go through your mental health history now. Do you have a family history of any mental illnesses?
I know Grandpa Rick is an alcoholic. He drinks a lot, and he kind of makes decisions based on that, which I wouldn't say is the smartest thing, but it seems to really bring out his creative scientific genius in him. And my mother, I think, is suspected to have depression or bipolar or something like that, because she acts out a lot, but she doesn't really like discussing that with me because I'm only 14.
So has your mom or your grandpa ever saw anyone for any of this in your knowledge?
My mother tried to do something about it, and she also tried to bring the family to a family psychiatrist to help deal with familial problems and everything like that. But we kind of just gave up on it after we realized we fought too much and we were wasting our money.
Okay. So let's go through your personal symptom history. How would you describe your general mood?
I would say I'm very anxious most of the time, and I worry a lot and constantly about like things that lie around the next corner, and most of my like future assignments and stuff like that. Even if it's within my family too, I seem to worry about like how everybody's doing and even just small things.
So, what situations would you say make you the most anxious?
Yet again, stuff that my grandpa gets me into. It's mostly life-endangering things that I get most anxious for, because you never know how your life is gonna turn out after that, and you're just kind of like sitting there like, wow, I could really lose my life in this far dimension, and nobody back home would know why. Okay,
so I don't think your adventures with your grandpa are too much of anxiety. I think that's just a normal worry you should have if you're in these life-threatening situations. Mm-hmm. Has your anxiety ever caused you to contemplate suicide, or have you ever made any gestures?
No.
Okay. So you do have anxiety and you're stressed a lot and you worry about a lot. Mm-hmm. That's pretty common in your life.
Yes.
Would you say that it affects how you live your life?
Yeah, it kind of affects how I do in school and how I talk to my parents. There's a social anxiety too because I can't really interact well with other people.
Okay. Would you say you're ever irritable?
I feel like I'm easily irritable because it seems that a lot of people don't understand me or like what I'm thinking or why I think the way I do. So mostly from parents and teachers.
So your parents and teachers don't really understand you and that makes you irritable?
Yes.
Do you have any sleep problems?
Yeah, I don't get much sleep because of Grandpa always wants to do his adventures at night. When he doesn't take me out of school, it's either I miss school or I miss a night's sleep.
So your sleep problems could be making you more irritable and anxious too if you're not getting as much rest as you need.
Mm-hmm.
So what about any delusions? Have you ever had any delusions or hallucinations?
No,
okay.
Not that I think of.
Any other personal symptoms related to your mental health that you've been experiencing?
Not too much my mental health, but more to my educational health. It's I feel like I'm very slow to process things, and my mind thinks a little bit slower than everybody else's. And it just kind of builds up on top of anxiety, and it makes me more anxious. So that might be a problem, but I'm not really sure.
So you think before you started going on these adventures with your grandpa and missing school, would you say that you struggled in school initially too?
Yeah, I'd say, but not as much.
Okay.
I was always a very slow reader and very slow to grasp concepts, and I often daydream a lot, especially about this girl named Jessica. And because she's just so beautiful, and I can't keep my brain focused on math when she's sitting right in front of me.
So you think you're easily distracted?
Yes.
Is it hard for you to focus on not only schoolwork, but just everyday activities?
I would say so.
So have you ever gotten a diagnosis for any of this before or been tested for anything?
Well, my parents have thought about testing for ADHD or autism. Or any other social or mental impairments, but I think my dad was able to talk my mom out of it.
Okay, so you've never gotten treated or you've never gotten diagnosed with anything or tested, so you don't have any treatments?
Yeah.
And you don't take any medications again, correct?
No.
Have you ever taken any in the past?
No.
Okay. So your daily activities, how do you typically spend a day?
Usually I go to school. I tend to daydream a lot during math class, like I said. And a lot of the time my grandpa will pick me up and take me out of school to help him with an adventure or an experiment that he's working on. So I can get into a lot of really dumb things. I remember one time, instead of taking me though, he took my father, and then that didn't end up too well, and I ended up having to help him anyways. And another time he turned himself into a pickle, and he had to go into sewers and fight off rats, and this was all while we were, me and my mom and my sister were sitting at therapy waiting for him.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think he does a lot of dumb things, but sorry, I digress. But mostly a typical day is dealing with stuff that he's up to and trying to get us out of bad situations.
So these adventures with your grandpa, would you say that you feel forced to do them and that you don't enjoy them, or would you say that even though everything can go pretty bad sometimes, you overall don't mind doing this with him?
I feel like it's a little bit mixed because some of them, he didn't really tell me where we're going until we get there, and then we get fully into the problem. But sometimes he says I get to pick my own adventure, which is really fun because I get to go anywhere in the universe and basically be like, this is what I want to do. I want to hike this little mountain on planet who knows what. And so I kind of get rewarded for every time I go on an adventure with him, or every couple of 10 adventures I go on with him, he might let me do something special during one of the next adventures.
So you kind of have a system in place that he can force you to do 9 activities or adventures, and then on the 10th one you get to pick your own?
Kind of like that whenever he's in a good mood. I mean, one time he made me shove seeds up my butt and bring it through intergalactic customs, but
Okay.
I mean, the next time I went out with him, I got to go pick my own adventures, so I'd say it was worth it.
Okay. So have you noticed like deterioration in your personal care or personal hygiene?
Yeah. I feel like I don't shower as much because I don't get as much sleep and I'm not home as much. So I feel like I'm less put together than I used to be.
So you think you don't have enough time to do these things?
Yeah.
So it's not really that you don't want to, it's just you don't have the time.
Yeah, mostly.
Okay. So have you had any like lack of interest in activities?
Not that I think so. I feel like things are mostly pretty interesting to me because each adventure is something around a new corner, so I don't really ever get tired.
Do you do anything for fun besides adventuring with your grandpa?
No, I don't really have many friends.
Okay. Do you have an impaired ability to interact with others?
Yeah, I think I do, and my parents tend to think I do. I feel like even when I'm just walking in the hallways that I can't walk up to somebody who's considered popular because they'll just think I'm an idiot, and like I kind of stutter when I talk to people, and it's really awkward and hard for me to talk to people my age. So, I mean, if I have my grandpa already built in as a good friend, why go out of my comfort zone?
Okay. So you would consider your grandpa your friend?
Yeah.
So when it comes to instructions, if someone's giving you instructions, do you find it difficult to understand or remember or carry out those instructions?
Yeah, I think sometimes I often forget the exact order that I was supposed to do things in. And that usually ends up falling back onto me as my problem, so.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about your social life. Maybe at school. Do you have any friends at school?
Not really. I'm considered the weird one in my grade, and like I said, like I'm practically in love with this girl Jessica, but she doesn't even really know my name. Except that one time, Grandpa Rick put this love serum in everybody, and it made everybody go crazy for me, but it ended up really badly because then everybody, even like the weird jocks and popular people were like coming after me, trying to like grab me, and I was just like, oh no. So then they had to completely reverse it, and now Jessica still doesn't know my name.
Okay. So you'd say your social life is mainly with your grandpa and your family? Do you have a social life with anyone else in your family besides your grandpa?
Not really. My family usually does their own thing. Like, my mom is a horse heart surgeon, and my sister goes to school too, and she's really worried about popularity. So, of course, that's the thing you're not going to associate with your little brother. And my dad is really occupied with trying to get my mom back and trying to put my grandpa in a care for older people, and it's really not too much going on between us besides me and my grandpa.
So describe, I know you talked about your romantic relationship with Jessica, how that you have this unrequited love with her, kind of went into detail about that. So describe your relationship with your grandpa to me. Do you feel like it's, do you feel like he loves and cares about you, and do you love and care about him, or is it strictly this adventure business? How would you view that?
Although it may seem like he doesn't like care for me, I don't think he would ever get me intentionally into something that would actually get me killed. He's always kind of there around the corner, even when you wouldn't expect it. Like you can tell he kind of like still loves you, and he does care for you, even when he makes you do completely stupid things. Like there's this one time I fell down off a cliff and broke both my legs, and he immediately went into another dimension, got some serum that helped cure my broken legs, and I was able to walk seconds later.
So he goes out of his way to do things for you?
I would say so.
So is this him caring about you? Does he make it known? Does everybody else know that he cares about you?
I'm not sure I would say his relationships are too public. He doesn't really express how he feels in literal words like I love you, but it's through more the actions that he does.
So when you get in an argument with any friend or family member, so in this case it could be anyone in your family, not just Grandpa Rick, how do you normally handle that? So let's start off with your dad. If you were to get in an argument with your dad, how would you go about that?
I feel like my dad is very irrational, and he's the type of person who always wants things his way. So if we were to get in an argument, we'd just kind of go our separate ways for a little, and eventually I may have to give in because he's just that type of person. And my mom is kind of the same way, so it doesn't make for them two being a really good pair when they both want to be right. With Summer, it's just kind of like bickering between me and my sister, because like it's sibling relationships. You're gonna yell over a couple of stupid things, and whenever with Grandpa Rick, it's arguing about like what choice should we do, and it's more like I always choose the safe side and he always chooses a more adventurous, scientific side that he wants to explore. So like I feel like I'm generally complacent when it comes to arguments.
So everything you say is confidential unless, in this interview, unless you harm yourself or others or you're intending to. Okay, so I think I have enough information here, Morty. Do you have any questions for me or any other information you'd like to share with me or tell me?
I don't think so, but thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you, Morty. We will get back to you.
Hi, so thank you for coming in today. What's your name?
My name is Rick Sanchez.
Okay, awesome, Rick. I just wanted to let you know that everything you say is confidential, unless it inflicts pain on another person or is any harm to anybody else, yourself, or your family.
Oh, okay.
So how old are you?
70.
Is that on the dot, 70?
Yeah, I think so.
Alrighty. So what's your date of birth then?
I don't know my birthday.
Okay, so how do you know when to celebrate your birthday?
I just
pick a random day?
Pick a day every year.
Okay,
sometimes
good.
I like to celebrate it with my grandson Morty on May the 15th.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
So what gender do you identify as?
I'm a male.
And your race?
I'd say Caucasian. I have an Hispanic last name, but I'm not sure if I am Hispanic, so Mom never told me.
And are you married?
No, I am widowed.
Okay. And your living situation?
I live at my daughter Beth's house with her husband Jerry and my 2 grandkids.
And what are their names?
Morty and Summer.
Okay. So how did you get here today?
Beth drove me, my daughter.
Okay. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about family history just to find out more about your background. Where were you born?
Earth Dimension C-137.
Okay, and is that where you grew up as well?
Yep.
And who raised you?
My mom.
Was she there for your whole life?
No.
So
I was on my own for most of my life.
Okay. How long would you say it was when how old did you say you were when she left you?
I have no clue.
Okay.
Probably early teens.
And do you have any siblings?
No.
Okay. And so you said you were widowed. How many times were you married?
Just once.
Okay. And how would you characterize your marriage?
It was good until science interfered with our lives. Me and my wife had our daughter Beth, and everything was very well and good until I discovered interdimensional travel. And once I discovered interdimensional travel, there was an accident that ended up killing my wife. So that's why I'm widowed.
Okay. So you obviously have contact with your children. How many times a day or a week would you say are you in contact with Beth?
Well, I live with her, so I see her every day. I see her in the mornings for breakfast. I see her in the evenings for dinner. I normally hang out with her in the living room. So basically all day unless I am in another dimension or somewhere across the universe.
So it's common for you to eat meals with each other?
Yeah.
Okay. And back to your marriage, do you have a date of the marriage?
No, I don't recall the date.
Okay, and your children, obviously only Beth, do you know how old she is?
She's 35.
Okay. Okay, so now we're going to move on to your educational history. What was the highest grade you completed in school?
I dropped out of school. Don't remember when. Probably like 9th or 10th grade.
Okay. Why did you leave school?
I was too smart for school. It was useless to me.
Okay. Why do you say that?
Because I'm a genius. I'm the smartest man in the universe. So everything they teach you in school was just irrelevant to me because I didn't need it. It's just a trap to make you learn useless things.
So don't you need to know math, though?
I already know math.
Without any schooling?
Yeah, I can figure it out.
One smart man. So you obviously didn't like school, but how would you say it in your own words?
Education is for the weak-minded.
And what were your grades like?
They weren't very good just because I didn't try because I knew everything. If I did try, they were great because it came easily to me, but school wasn't anything that I really cared about.
Okay, so did you ever fail a grade then?
Probably. I dropped out, so I didn't really try that all that much. School was just never important to me.
So with special education, were you ever enrolled or thought to enroll?
I never had special education.
So did they ever consider your extreme smartness as an indication of special education?
I never really showed my extreme smartness because I never really tried in school, so they didn't really think about it.
Okay, and then, so were you ever in trouble for behavior at your school?
No.
Okay, so you were never suspended or expelled?
Not that I can recall.
Okay. So moving on to your employment history, what was your first job?
I've never really had a job. One time, my granddaughter Summer worked with this really sketchy guy that was selling things to make people kind of like curse their whole lives. So I created my own job of a scientist, inventor, arms salesman, store owner. And basically, I fixed everything that he had sold them, and they were able to have it with no consequences.
So you gave it to them for free?
Yeah.
And what were some examples of these things that these people were cursed with?
So my grandson Morty's math teacher had bought a love potion from this man who the love potion was supposed to make all the women want him, which they did, but he was unable to have sex with any of them. That was his consequence. So I corrected his love potion and made it to where all the women did want him, and he was also able to have as many relations with them as he wanted.
Okay, so how long did that last?
I kept it for about a day or so, and then I got bored and stopped doing it.
Okay. So why did you get bored with it?
I don't like to work. I like to do my own thing. I didn't like doing things for other people for a long amount of time. I just kind of created this job to prove my granddaughter Summer wrong and prove that the guy she was working for was kind of a jerk. So that was it. I didn't really have a good reason other than to just prove Summer wrong.
Okay, so would you say that you don't respond appropriately to supervisors and work pressure, and you kind of like working more on your own than you would with somebody supervising you?
Oh, yeah, I don't take commands from anyone. I don't listen to anybody but myself. I am my own boss. I've never really had a supervisor, and if I did, I would not listen to them.
Okay, so since you only have that one job, I take it you've never been fired from a job.
No.
So technically you fired yourself from that one-day job?
Yeah, I fired myself. I quit myself.
Okay. And how do you handle your personal finances?
I am able to have small side businesses through traveling interdimensionally and throughout the universe, selling things, normally illegal activity that gives me my revenue and my money. So I can manage that pretty well. I still live with my daughter, just because it's more convenient. I don't have to have my own place. I can use everything that's hers, and she lets me. And then if I need to go buy these scientific things for myself, I have my money to do that.
Okay, so would you say you have problems handling money?
No, not really.
Okay. Have you ever served in the armed forces?
No, I have not.
Okay. Moving on to medical history. Are you aware of any complications during your birth?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Did you crawl, walk, and talk when you were supposed to?
I think so. Don't really know. Probably.
Okay. So it seems to me that a lot of your young childhood was obscured and you don't know much about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever suffered from a head injury or loss of consciousness?
Yeah. Multiple times. I get in a lot of fights, and sometimes I lose consciousness from drinking too much. I drink a lot, so I black out a lot too.
So, do these fights ever get you in further trouble?
Sometimes, but I can always normally get myself out of it.
Okay. Are those in your family home, or where are they?
Oh, they're like somewhere out in the universe in other dimensions. I don't really fight anyone in my family unless it's like an argumentative fight. But physical fights, if someone makes me mad, if they try to fight me, I'm going to fight them back. And normally I can just knock them out or whatever, kill them. It doesn't matter.
So do you ever feel bad about fighting these people?
Oh, no. Not at all.
And what reason is it for? Do you have political difference or?
Normally they just piss me off.
Okay. So would you say you have any anger problems?
Not unless someone just does something really stupid that's wasting my time. If anything like wastes my time or makes me do something that I shouldn't have done because it wasn't my problem, then yeah, it's gonna make me mad. But normally people can do their own thing unless it affects me. If it affects me, it bothers me.
Okay. Are you currently being treated for any physical illnesses or injuries?
No.
Are you taking any medications?
Not medications, just like illicit drugs.
And what are those?
Everything.
Okay, we'll get further into that later. Have you ever suffered from seizures?
Not that I know of.
And blackouts?
Yeah, from drinking, definitely.
And how often would you say you black out from drinking?
Probably once a week, once every few weeks. Just depends on how that week is going and how much I have to drink.
So with abuse history, have you ever been physically abused?
No.
Have you ever been sexually abused?
Nope.
Have you ever been emotionally abused?
No.
Okay. So now we're going to talk about your substance use. So alcohol. When did you start drinking alcohol?
I don't know, my teens. As soon as I figured out what it was.
When did you last use it?
Today. I use it every day.
So the frequency is every day.
Mm-hmm.
Is that all day or?
I keep a flask with me, so yeah. Throughout the day.
Throughout the day.
Heavier at night.
And when's the longest time you've abstained from it?
I don't remember. Probably when I was in Galactic Federal Prison and I wasn't allowed to have any.
It's about how long was that for?
Just a few days until I escaped.
Okay. So it wasn't prolonged abstaining from alcohol?
Nope, not long.
And so cigarettes?
Don't use cigarettes.
Marijuana?
Probably use it, yeah.
And why do you say probably?
I use a lot of drugs, don't really have a name for them because I use drugs that are on Earth and I use drugs that are within other dimensions and that are in other universes that you have never even heard of. So, yeah, I've used marijuana.
Okay, what about cocaine?
Yeah.
Do you know when?
Just whenever.
Is that a recreational thing?
Yeah, it's recreational.
Frequency. So would you say you do it around friends?
Around friends, yeah. The only thing I really do alone is alcohol. If I'm with friends or at a party or something, I'll do other drugs.
Okay. And opiates?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know when you had started that?
Just recreationally.
Recreationally. Okay. And the same thing too is around your friends?
Yeah.
What about hallucinogens?
Yeah, around my friends.
Around friends and recreationally as well?
Yeah.
What types of hallucinogens would you say you use? Are they intergalactic ones?
They're intergalactic ones. You've probably never heard of them.
Okay, and what do they do to you?
They make you feel like you're in a different reality, even though I'm normally in a different reality anyways when I take them. My favorite one is a type of bean from a plant. It gives you about a nice 5-minute high, and then it's over with, and then you're really irritable and have a lot of withdrawals, but that's my favorite drug. But I don't do that often because it's really hard to come by.
Okay. What about amphetamines?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. And what about sedatives or hypnotics?
Maybe. I'm not really sure.
Okay. Substance-related problems. So would you say you have concerns from family about it?
Yeah.
And what about friends?
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten DUI?
Yeah.
Okay. When was that?
I've gotten a few.
were they intergalactically or were they in the U.S.?
A little. I don't think I've ever gotten any in the U.S. because I drive a spaceship, so I don't really drive the roads of Earth Dimension C-137.
Okay.
So just intergalactically.
Have you ever had any instances of acting out related to substance?
Yeah.
What would you say is one example?
One time, my grandson Morty and I, he picked an adventure with the with the Vindicators. My grandson wanted to go on this adventure with them because they called us since I'm the smartest man in the universe. And I realized that this was the third time they had got together, and they didn't call me and my grandson for the second time. So I got really irritated, and I got super drunk and basically went to the place where they needed to kill this monster and killed him, and then made it into this Saw type scary movie type thing where most of them ended up dying or turning against each other. And I was drunk and I did all that, and it killed a lot of people.
So would you take responsibility for that?
Yeah, but they were stupid anyways.
Okay. Have you ever had financial related problems because of your substance use?
No.
Any problems at work?
No.
Even with science?
Not really. No. Kind of enhances it.
Okay. And your health?
My health is fine. 70 years old, still kicking.
What about blackouts? So you talk about that a lot.
Yeah, with alcohol sometimes.
Have you ever experienced anything that was life-threatening while you were blacked out?
No.
Did you put anybody else at risk?
No.
Okay. And what would you say your tolerance is?
It's pretty high. I do a lot of drugs and alcohol.
And when, like you said, when you were in the Galactic Federation, with alcohol, you had to abstain from that. How bad was your withdrawal?
It was pretty bad, but not so overwhelming that I wasn't able to continue functioning because I still was able to plan my escape.
Okay. Do you feel as if you need alcohol to do smart things?
No, not really.
Okay. Have you ever been treated for substance abuse?
No.
Okay. So, moving on to your legal history, do you have any current charges against you?
Probably somewhere in the universe. I just escaped prison from the Galactic Federation, but I also destroyed the Galactic Federation, so they can't really have any charges against me if it doesn't exist.
Okay. Are you ever afraid that they're gonna come back and find you? And
no, I'll just escape again if they do.
Okay. So, do you have a past criminal record then?
Yeah. I went to federal prison. I told you about that. I escaped and destroyed it. I've also had crimes, gotten charged with murder, DUI, bioterrorism. I destroyed a whole planet one time with my grandson Morty because I gave him a love potion and it ended up turning everybody into mutants because it was flu season. I've gotten in trouble with illegal arms dealing, kidnapping, prison escape, slavery, terrorism, time bending. I got in a lot of trouble for bending time one time. Almost went to time prison, and that would have sucked. Also a little bit of treason and rebellion, and that's just a few.
Okay, so with any of those, what motivated you to act on those, and why do you keep committing these?
It's normally something that's just beneficial to me. If it's going to benefit me or my grandson Morty or my family, I'm going to do it. So a lot of these have just been like spur of the moment in the middle of an adventure. I've had to do something just to continue with my like survival and continue with the adventure. And some of these have just been accidental, like the bioterrorism one. That was just supposed to make Jessica fall in love with Morty, but it ended up ruining the whole planet. And then, so basically it's just to benefit me or to keep me surviving.
Okay. So with mental health history, does your family have any history of mental illness?
Not that I know
of. Does Beth have any history of mental illness?
Yeah, sometimes. She's maybe depressed. She took our family to therapy one time, but I didn't want to go because I think therapy is stupid, so I turned myself into a pickle.
Okay. How would you describe your mood generally?
I'm annoyed.
And why is that?
Because everybody else is stupid and I'm the smartest man in the universe, and nobody acts like they should.
And when you say that, how do you want people to act?
Just to make smart decisions and not do stupid or like irrelevant things, but not everybody's as smart as me, so.
Okay. Have you ever had any suicidal ideation?
Yeah, one time, my girlfriend Unity, she broke up with me, and, I went back home and I got super drunk, and I loaded my gun, and I put the potion in it, and, I tested it on a pickle, and then, it worked on the pickle, so then I put my head in there, and it was supposed to shoot through my brain and kill me, but I blacked out right before it happened, so I ended up not killing myself due to blacking out.
Okay. And so that was driven because of a girlfriend breaking up with you?
Yeah, Unity.
Okay. Have you ever been anxious, stressed, or worrisome?
No.
Are you ever irritable?
Only with other people.
And that is, like you said, when they are making smart decisions?
Yeah.
Do you have a sleep problem?
No.
Delusion?
No.
Hallucinations?
Only when I'm doing drugs.
Okay, so those are elicited.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you ever had any previous diagnoses?
No.
Previous psychological testing?
Nope.
Treatment for mental health?
Nope.
Okay. So are you on any psychiatric medications?
No.
Have you been in the past?
Nope.
Alrighty. So I'm talking about your daily life. How do you spend a typical day?
Just exploring the universe and other dimensions and committing crimes with my grandson Morty.
So would you say that those days are always committing crimes, or are they sometimes filled with other things?
No, sometimes they're fun. Sometimes they're just business. Like I need to go get something. I need to go sell something. Morty picks an adventure every once in a while, and we go and do his fun thing.
Okay. So for fun, you would say you explore the universe?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you noticed a deterioration in your personal care?
Never really had much personal care.
Have you ever experienced anhedonia or like a constriction of interest in activities?
No.
Okay. Have you ever had the impaired ability to interact with others?
No.
And impaired ability to understand, remember, or carry out
Nope.
instructions? Okay. So when we think about your social history, how is your social life?
My best friend Bird Person was killed at his wedding that I didn't want to go to, but I went anyways because his wife was secretly a Galactic Federation agent, and she busted it and arrested everyone. So she killed Bird Person, and that's why I went to prison to begin with. So he was most of my social life, and now he's dead. I adventure with Morty, and sometimes I bring Summer. She's getting a lot better at it, so sometimes I bring Summer too. I really hate everyone except for my daughter Beth and Summer and Morty.
Okay. And I noticed you didn't include Jerry.
I don't like Jerry.
Why not?
He's a piece of crap.
Okay. Are you mad that Beth married Jerry?
Yeah, he knocked her up at a young age, and she kind of had no choice. So if he wouldn't have knocked her up, my grandkids wouldn't be stupid. And she would be with me, being my genius sidekick in the universe. But now she's a stuck mom who's married as a horse surgeon. So he ruined her life.
Okay. Describe your friends and your romantic relations.
So Bird Person was killed. I told you that. He was my friend. My other friend is Squanch, and we like to drink together. My girlfriend Unity left me, and I haven't really had another relationship like intimately since then.
Okay. And you said Squanch, you like to drink together. How much do you guys usually drink together?
A lot. We like to party. Party hard.
Okay. And how do you normally handle an argument with your significant others?
Sometimes I just leave and go on an adventure. Sometimes I just drink. I always am able to use my extreme knowledge and lack of caring about people to get out of things. Even though I do secretly care sometimes, as long as I act like I don't, I can avoid all of my problems. So I'm kind of stubborn. I rarely apologize because I'm rarely wrong. I'm always right. So I don't really care if someone doesn't like me because I'm always right.
Okay, so when you said you just leave, do you consider leaving and fleeting a coping way to deal with other people? And as you say, they're less smart intentions, or why do you just leave rather than face, even though you know you're smart and are probably correct?
Just because it's a waste of my time to continue arguing sometimes. It's a lot easier just to leave the situation and let them get over it, because sometimes I try to explain how I'm right and it normally works, but most of the time I don't want to waste my time doing that.
Okay. So thank you for coming in today. And we will follow up with you later.
Okay, thank you.